Hello, this is TelecomTV reporting from Paris at the MPLS, SDN and NFV World Congress 2016. I'm Martin Warwick and I'm talking with Stephane Litkowski, who is Network Architect at Orange. Stephane, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
12 months on. You don't look much different, I must say. This event is interesting because it is a seriously technical event, much more technical than many I can think of. Really is solid geek stuff, this. And of course, MPLS, which we're talking about first of all, is a well-established, indeed it's almost a venerable technology, which has been around for a long time, but it's still very effective in many ways. At the same time, SDN and NFV have been developed and are running alongside it and have different attributes themselves, some of which MPLS also has. Do you think that SDN and NFV will, in due course, make MPLS redundant?
Okay. To try to give you the overall picture, so we are operating MPLS VPN network 4 years. So MPLS is a real strong technology to provide efficient transport and efficient services like VPN layer 2 or layer 3 or whatever other kind of service. Since many years, we are also providing value-added services on top of our MPLS VPN offers. So we were providing those services using router capabilities or appliances that were within the network. But now we need more agility. And this agility may come with the NFV technology, so we'll be able to instantiate services more dynamically within the network. So this is the first point. But having just NFV is not enough because we need to connect those new services, dynamic services, to the network. So we need also SDN. So now we have two tracks. We can use SDN as kind of overlay on top of MPLS, and in this case you may have kind of redundancy, or you can try to, I would say, combine both technology and stitch what you can do with SDN with the current MPLS transport that we are providing. But in any case, you always need a strong transport, because if you want to provide a very good quality of experience for your customer, you need a very strong transport. And MPLS is really strong in that, and we can also see in this Congress that MPLS technology is continuously evolving. For example, there is still a lot of talk about segment routing technology, which is really tied to MPLS. So for me, it's not really a question of redundancy, but there is benefits in both technology, and we can really stitch them together to have a very good experience for our customers.
Thank you. NFV goes hand in hand with the concept of openness. In the past, under the old regime that pertained a few years ago, service providers went to the same manufacturers and vendors, were often locked into them for many years, buying switches and hardware and so on, and some software as well. However, when SDN and particularly NFV were first mooted, the technologies were actually being driven by the service providers themselves. And they have said from the start, look, we don't want to go back to the old model. We want to be able to shop around and buy bits and pieces where we want it. We don't want to be beholden to one manufacturer or vendor or group of them. So we're going to do things differently. That has led to the emergence of a bewildering variety of ecosystems now. It's growing daily. There are more and more of them all the time as vendors and manufacturers get together in an effort to win service provider business. Given that, and given that many of the ecosystems, although they are different, have the same people and companies represented within them, how do service providers actually go about choosing their transformation partner? Isn't it confusing for them?
What I can say is the current SDN and NFV product ecosystem is really complex. You have existing players, existing big service provider vendor players that are trying to address, I would say, all the layers in terms of control of management of the SDN technology, even if before they were focused only on transport and so on, but now we are going up into the layer. Yeah. We have also new players that are more coming from software that are trying to address forwarding data plane and so on that were more for routing vendors before. So this ecosystem is really complex, and I think it's not mature yet, and there will be some death of some actors in the near future, and the market will try to stabilize. Now, from a service provider point of view, it's really hard to find and do our market within it. And I think the most important thing is for a service provider like Orange, it's difficult to do the shopping market. So based on our experience, what I can say is service provider need to try. They need to try solution in their lab. So you were talking about proof of concept and so on. So this is one of approach, but doing a live service trial that like what we done last year is also a really good experience to learn about the technology, the maturity of the technology and so on. So this is one of the approach. Then based on this, you have two tracks. You can do RFPs or you can do partnership, depending of what kind of relationship you need with a dedicated partner.
Let's have another look at NFV in a different way. It's now 3.5 years since NFV became current and everybody began to realise what it is and what an effect it's going to have on the world's networks. I speak to a lot of service providers, and I also speak to a lot of vendors and manufacturers. The vendors and manufacturers are beginning to say, there's murmurings in the undergrowth, they're beginning to say things like, well, we thought NFV would be further on than this now. We thought there would be commercial deployments out there, significant commercial deployments out there. We've got the equipment, we've spent a lot of money on research and development providing the equipment, we want to make a return on the investment. But NFV seems to be stuck at the RFI and proof of concept stage, plateaued. The service providers, on the other hand, say to me, well, we're used to generational thinking, and it's often 5, 6, 7, 10 years, or used to be, until we made decisions about new technologies. We're moving very quickly into NFV, actually. It's just that the vendors and the manufacturers are a bit over-eager. So the question after all that verbiage is, and putting the background to it is, how long will it be before you think we will see real commercial use cases for NFV?
I think it will be soon, because we just presented today, a few minutes ago, in the show, that we are clearly engaging for Orange Business Services, a large deployment for SD and NFV services, and we can expect to have something available for customers by the end of the year. Now, regarding your question, for a service provider, what is important is first the business driver. I really need to go to it for my customer, and is it really profitable for me? Or the other aspect is, can I find some optimization? So, for example, saving some internal expenses by going to this technology. So it's really a matter of use case, so service provider by service provider and business division by business division to see, okay, can I do some business with this, or can I optimize something? So you see, for example, with the Telecom Italia presentation, that they see that there is some use case, but on some other area, it's harder to find if it's really profitable. So that's why they don't really know today if they need to go now, or they need to wait a bit more to have some use case more mature. Now, from our point of view, regarding the B2B services, so business services, we clearly have some customer expectations that we need to fill. That's why we are engaging the deployment for at least this B2B market. Now, the other point is that I think the vendors are creating some kind of confusion for the service provider. Because last year there was a lot of buzz about the VCPE. Now we are talking about SD-WAN. Yakov just introduced a new concept of next generation CPE, where you put computation services on top of virtual network functions. So I think it becomes really complex for the service provider to say, okay, what I will really do with that. So we need to take maybe a step back, view the overall picture, and really focus on our use case and business drivers.
Stephane Litkowski, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Martin.